us back, to hold us, tried to hold us back.
We will be here forever. Do you understand?
Hey, it's Shan here. This week I speak with Darren, Rudolph, Stapleton. Darren was one of the OG Sydney kind of street skaters back in the late 80s. At a time when vert reigned supreme, Darren was kind of on the forefront of like the jump ramp era and, you know, skating new skate parks like Allawa Bowl, for example. But he was in the streets and on mini ramps and other things like that. So he was a rare talent and it was very obvious, and he picked up some pretty major sponsors direct from America. So he was on direct sponsorship with Venture Trucks, for example, and back in the day that was like a huge deal. So it's a good history lesson for any newer skaters that are not familiar with Darren. Darren is also a musician and we talk about that journey, and it was just a really great day. Like we recorded at his apartment in Sydney, but hanging out with him and his partner prior to the recording and then afterwards was just such a gift and so nice. And I actually wish I could have recorded some of our conversations because we really did go deep on a few things. And we are joined by Ty Coling this week, past guest, Bondi legend, Mr. Nice Guy, sits in, adds his 2 cents. It's always a pleasure hanging out with Ty. And after the episode, we all went for a big walk into Sydney Park and watched the Birdhouse team do a demo. And we got to see Tony Hawk skate. Who knows? Might be the last time we see the Birdman do his thing at 55 years of age. It was pretty inspiring. So I hope you enjoy getting to know Mr. Darren Stapleton, a.k.a. Rudolph.
Destined to rock for eons, time doesn't exist. Shut those cataracts, capture the virtualist. Now, let's get back to what makes things seem forever, whether it's unseen, unheard, or it's 16 again. Not a bother, feel this old man river.
Where did the name or the nickname Rudolph come from?
That came from Ben Crawford at Kempfield, and they were
A.k.a. Allawa Bowl?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they were stoners. And then we were just skating, and then they came out from having a session, I think, in the toilets, and then said, "Oh, his nose is red in the summer, and it's Rudolph." And then it just started, and that was it.
And then you were really good at ho-hos?
I suppose, yeah.
It didn't come from that.
No, it wasn't actually, no, yeah.
Ty's laughing. What's so funny, Ty?
That's a good implication, being upside down and you blood go into your head, I guess. I never thought of that.
Dude, yeah. How do you reflect on those days at Kentfield, Allawa Bowl?
Well, that's where it started, man. It was awesome. Like, I'll never forget those days. So, met some great friends and learnt a lot. And, you know, my introduction to skateboarding was Future Primitive video.
Yep.
And I remember my brother brought it home from school, and my brother and sister had watched it. And then I got home. They said, "Oh, you love skateboarding," and said you want to get a skateboard and stuff. And but you should see the way these guys train, because they showed how they train, and they've got their fingerboards out. And I'm going, "Oh, really? Oh, wow! I'd like to see this." And then I watched that, and it just blew me away. And then got the first board, which was an Aussie skateboard, $60 off like a complete. And
Let's talk years. Give me a year. We're talking 80, 86.
Probably 86, 86, because I would have been in year 6. So, wow. Yeah, and then, so going into high school, year 7, I think Kempfield maybe opened around maybe 87. Yeah. Council bowl, so they just dig a hole and it's full of kinks and
Had you ever seen anything like that
Never.
prior?
No.
Describe your initial feeling when you seen that structure.
I remember skating down to when it was finally finished, and there was someone skating in front of me to go to it, and they got on it. I saw them from probably about 200 metres away. They got on it and just zinged out and just slid right out and slammed hard, and I was like, oh, fuck. So then I got on there, and then I did the same thing, and it was covered in wax or oil or something because it needed to set the concrete or something. We didn't know. There was nothing around it to stop people going on it. So it was like, then people were there trying to dry it off and stuff, and we just had to wait. But then once it opened, it was just packed, and people were coming from everywhere, and that was our local. So I used to probably me and Spin, Dave Bodner, we used to hang together all the time, just skating there and skating the schools around there and the streets. And that's where it all started.
Where were you living?
I was living around there, so Carlton, Allawah, Hurstville. Mum and Dad didn't own a place, so they were kind of renting and just living wherever we could at the time. So I was kind of in the vicinity.
Moved around a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that suburb, from my memory, we used to catch the train up from Nowra and then would skate from Hurstville train station.
Yep. Or Allawah.
Or Allawah train station.
Allawah was closer, but most people...
Sometimes we get off at Hurstville.
Yeah.
But I always remember feeling really scared we're going to get beat up.
Yeah, right.
Did you have any experiences like that?
No, never there. I think because I was local, so
Okay.
we were there with everyone and hanging out with the older guys and, and that's how you progress, I think, when you're younger and you're just skating with older guys all the time and you see what they do and you just don't think anything else. You think, I can do that too. So, yeah.
So your parents moved around a lot because they were renting. Was it difficult financially for them?
I think so. I didn't really know because I was a kid. So, but I kind of realised a bit more maybe when I went to high school because I'd see other kids, bigger houses and better cars and stuff. But I mean, didn't matter. It was just kind of like we did our thing and that was it.
Have you got good memories of your home life as a kid?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of?
Well, I guess, Dad was an alcoholic and not really much involved, but he did, before skating I played footy. So I played footy for years and years and played reps and did all that kind of stuff. And then, so he would take me to all the footy games and training and stuff. And then after that, I started getting a skateboard and he was like, I don't know if I want to play footy anymore. I think I just want to skate. And I was never big, so everyone just started growing and getting bigger and I wasn't. And then and then I'd have like scabs on my knees and I'd come off in footy getting tackled and I was like, I think I just want to skate. So I stopped playing.
How is there so many people? Yeah. Did you play team sports, Ty? I don't think I asked you that.
Not probably as such, just at school and, school sport or whatever, but I never really got into anything. I think I did a season of soccer when I was super young.
Yeah.
That was about it at Queen's Park. I did a team thing, but that didn't last for that long. I'm not sure why.
I did one season of cricket and hated it. And Mum said, you got to finish. You've started. You got to finish. I was like, get me out of here.
That's a good mentality to have, though. Start to try and create some discipline, you know?
Correct.
Wow. That's a good value.
Yeah, I try and do that to my daughter now too.
Interesting. Yeah. So stuck with you.
Yeah, stick it out.
Did you have a good relationship with your mum?
Yeah, great relationship. Still chat all the time.
Yeah? And with your dad a bit?
Dad passed about 9 years ago now, so never had a good relationship with him, never close. Yeah.
I don't want to start too deep too early, but I'm going to. What was the knock-on effect of that in your adult life?
I never knew until now, until being with my current partner. So, yeah. You just get on with life, I think. As we were talking about before, you don't realise you've got triggers and stuff and where they come from until maybe people can point them out some sort of way.
Mm. Were you did you have a desire to have a strong relationship with him?
I would like to, yeah. Like I remember seeing mates with their dads and seeing what they had. I was like I don't remember my dad giving me any advice on anything or just having a conversation with me about anything. Like it was just kind of, he did his thing and we were kind of doing our thing. But he did, I suppose he built me he was a carpenter, so he built me a jump ramp and a fun box and a rail and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
But I remember getting home from school and then making something to eat quickly. He'd be coming home probably 4:30 from work and I'll be like, I've got to get out of the house before he gets here. And I'd just get my skateboard and go jump the back fence into the school and just skate.
Wow. Because you, and Ty mentioned this earlier, you were very much in the jump ramp era.
Yeah.
So what would you say your go-to jump ramp trick was? Can you remember?
Well, I guess it used to progress. You do something, then you want to do it 180, then you want to do it 360, and then it could be, I love body wraps and saran wraps and stuff. So then it would be like doing a body wrap, and then it'd be okay doing a body wrap 180, and then it'd be like a saran wrap, then a saran wrap 360, and all that kind of stuff.
I have memories of you doing saran wraps off a jump ramp in the car park of Kmart in Nowra at a skate comp. And I said this, and you're the first person I've seen do that, and I was just like, what? And also that whatever it is, a Hail Mary, frontside bone like on the flat ground, like boneless.
It was like bean
frontside,
plant to backside boneless or something.
Yeah.
Thread the needle of sorts.
And jumping through your legs, like through your hand and your foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff you take to ramps and stuff, mini ramps and all that.
But that was groundbreaking back then, like in terms of context.
Well, that's what's so cool about skating. Back then, no internet, so you never knew what was going on. You'd go from place to place and you see what they're doing, and someone else would see what someone else is doing. It's like, wow, look at this.
Did you have a moment where you realised, like, hey, I'm pretty good at skating?
No, not really. We just did it. We just I think, as we were saying before, I've always just thought of myself as a part-time skater. I love it. I love the sport.
Still?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Part-time?
Yeah. And
even when you were sponsored?
When I was sponsored, I was kind of doing it a lot more, but I still wasn't getting on the board as much as a lot of other people. I'd be doing other stuff and still skating, obviously, but not as much. Yeah.
What other stuff were you doing?
So, I was into music, got right into music. So I was just loved playing guitar at the time. So then started bands and writing music, and skating and music is similar to me in terms of creativity, and there's no rules. You know what I mean? You can write music and you can in any kind of way. You can skate in any kind of way. And it's a bit of a social thing for me. Like, I love being together with mates and skating. I love being with mates, writing music and jamming. So I didn't skate that much on my own. I skated a little bit just out the front and whatever on my own, or in the school where I lived, like behind me. But it was more about getting together with mates and skating, and same thing with music, getting together with mates and creating music.
Nice. And the desire to progress.
Yeah, I love progressing, of course.
Even with your music.
Yeah, anything. I guess it's just human nature, I think, a lot of times. Later on, when I kind of, probably like early to mid-90s, when I wasn't skating much at all, like it was kind of the era when small wheels came in and the baggy pants, and I wasn't skating much then at all. But then once the skate park started popping up, probably mid to late 90s, I got a board again, but obviously no sponsors or anything, and then just had to go and skate the parks because they were so good.
Yeah, nice.
And I was kind of progression was coming naturally, but I wasn't trying to push myself because I was, as I said, still a part-time skater, so I just loved getting on there.
Back to the progression thing, and you were saying how off a jump ramp you were like did it straight and then did it 180 or whatever. Like, I don't think I was as intuitive as that when I was growing up. It was sort of a bit more monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. Yeah. What do you reckon drove that mentality to do that? Was that because you'd seen other people do stuff and you wanted to progress things because of that? Or do you feel that you had that within you to want to take it to 180 and then 360 and whatever? And as an extension of that, what other things did you do 360 off jump ramps? Because I remember like the hippie twist was a landmark move back then, and I don't recall much beyond sort of the regular ones, maybe a judo one or whatever that you did. What other ones did you do? But yeah, first, why?
I think it's a good question. I think it's it was just I just thought, okay, what else I've done that now. What can I do next? And then it just naturally came because, I think it started from the ollie. You would ollie, then it'll be a frontside 180 ollie, then it's a backside 180 ollie. And I think it came from that. Once you've learned something, try and learn something else. So, yeah, look, hippie twist, or 360s, that started. Then it was the judo 360s. Then it was frigid 360s, saran wrap 360s. I never got a body wrap 360, but I could body wrap 180. I just couldn't spin 360 and throw the board through the legs and catch it and come all the way around. I just never got it. But yeah.
That's right. I never saw you try that, but that would have been like amazing back then for sure.
Now,
the frigid one's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
still. I think that was weird.
Yeah, just spinning the other one. You're spinning like backside, but your legs coming off the other side kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah. And there was, and then there was other things like doing a hippie twist and then grabbing starfish or something midway through and then letting go and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever do front side?
Yeah, do front side, but I started with front side boneless ones. So.
Yeah, right.
So doing front side boneless, and then it just came from that. Yeah.
So did you do front threes and just front different things at all? The same as the backside?
I didn't get anything. That was all just front side 360s. Yeah, nothing too flash.
Yeah, right. That's sick though. I don't remember seeing that either,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's different.
Yeah.
For sure. Particularly then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like it was a bit odd. It felt weird spinning that way. I started on flat ground. I just started like riding along and just grabbing like tuck knee, just because I thought tuck knee always looked better grabbing front side. Yeah. Because I used to start with, like I used to always grab in between, and then I can't remember who said it. No, grab it behind the knee. It looks so much better. And I thought, yeah, it does. So started, and then just started just doing 180s on the flat ground, and then took it to the jump ramp, doing the 180s, and then started spinning them harder. And
Well, how old do you think? What age? 13, 14?
yeah, 13, 14. Yeah. Yeah.
Were you a good student at school?
Not really.
It's so rare that anyone says, yeah, I was good at school. I never hear that.
Yeah, no, I was never like real naughty or anything, but I
But?
always had respect and stuff. But I just kind of
Didn't connect.
think like maybe if I was in today's world, it'd probably be like ADHD or something.
Like every single skateboarder.
Yeah, that's it. Mine's always racing and
Is it?
yeah.
Even now?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. How do you manage that?
Music and exercise, like
Any
I
other
was speaking
exercise?
before. Yeah.
Any other modalities like meditation, breath
No,
work?
I'm not good at any of that. I do try, but
Dude, we're the same because I've tried all the shit.
Yeah.
I've tried everything like breath work, meditation, yoga, and I've just realized like really hard exercise is like the only thing that works for
yeah, it takes it
calming
out.
that monkey
Yeah.
mind.
And
Is that what
even-
you find?
Yeah, and I can listen to some full-on heavy metal, and it kind of calms me sometimes.
Dude, totally.
People are like, that doesn't calm me. Okay, it does. I love it.
Has it ever been to a point though where like that racing mind has been debilitating for you?
Well, it could be, but I don't really know. So
Okay.
yeah.
Why? Because you just exercise out of it.
Yeah, just exercise like we were talking before. And
Dude.
I love like boxing. I've been boxing on and off. Same thing, another thing, part-time, just love doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes it out of you and it's good kind of fun. It challenges you as well.
Yeah. In what way? Like, because there's a real mental aspect to the coordination, right?
100%, yeah. And it's like, well, I guess people that don't understand it, like, and I don't have a lot of knowledge on it, obviously only from what I do, but, it's like a chess game.
It is.
You got to know what the other person's doing. You got to anticipate what they're going to do. You got to try and coerce them to do something so you can do something. And it's a good challenge like that. And I respect anyone who does it because it's the same thing day in, day out, kind of like a swimmer.
Yeah.
Where skating was different. We could skate, we'd have fun, you could change it up. Like it's not like the discipline of other sports is just the same thing day in, day out. That would be hard to do constantly.
Yeah, there's much more of a creative aspect to it.
Skating,
Yeah.
100%.
Like, it seems like you're someone that craves a level of creativity in their life, yeah?
Yeah, still pretty creative. Like,
How does music satisfy it? Obviously, writing songs.
yeah, writing, playing, getting together with the boys and doing it, like writing on my own and then taking it to band practice or whatever and saying this is what I've got. Let's work on this.
Well, can you describe the genre of music that you play?
So guitar, the band is kind of like a 90s detuned kind of heavy groove rock
Okay.
kind of thing. Band I play drums in is just more punk rock.
Okay.
And
Originals?
yeah, originals. Yeah, I played in one cover band recently, but we were taking old like 80s pop songs and changing them into punks, punk songs. There's some stuff on YouTube and all that, but we did it. We kind of, I don't know, did it for ourselves. We didn't really release them. I mean, we've got some stuff on Spotify, but we've got a lot of stuff that we recorded, but we never pushed ourselves to, be the next big thing or to try and take over the world or just something that we love doing.
Do you ever get any paid gigs though?
Yeah, lots of paid gigs.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
We had all that and had like some awards with like independent Australian music awards and stuff like that. But that would usually come from other people pushing it for us because we didn't push it. And they could be fans or something. Oh, we really like your band, and I'm going to put you in for this or do this, or would you be interested in this? And we go, yeah, that's cool. Do whatever you want. But we kind of, when like a record label or something owns you, then you dictate it. You dictate it to their terms. And we never wanted that. We're just like, no, we just want to do our own thing. Just play music because we love it.
Do you ever get any paid DJ gigs, Ty?
Yeah, I've had a couple.
Because my question to both of you is like, how does it feel to be paid for something you love doing?
Does it feel
good?
It's awesome. I guess basically, particularly in context of the world we live in, there's nothing better than getting paid for things you love to do, like, for sure. Because you're doing it because of the personal satisfaction it gives you, but then I guess to have that acknowledged outside of that, and people want to essentially give you that currency, that barter for doing what you love is a really cool thing.
Yeah, nice.
For sure.
So we didn't see the money much because we'd put it back into the band account. And they'd pay for recordings, pay for like doing little tours or whatever, and just pay for stuff that way. So we were doing what we loved, but kind of didn't have to pay for it. So, yeah, and we were happy with that. That's cool.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Just satisfied.
Yeah, satisfied. We're not paying for it, and we'd go away to tour or whatever, and everything's paid for. So yeah.
Name of the band?
Shinobi.
Yeah,
and for guitar.
Yeah.
One of the albums is on Spotify. It's called Against the Brave.
Okay.
And the other band in drums is the Straw Dogs.
Straw Dogs.
We haven't released anything. I mean, we've got CDs out, but we haven't done anything on Spotify. We're just too lazy. And then the other band, and that was drums. I played drums in that one. And I played drums in a band called Cobra Kai and the Leg Sweeps, which was taking the old
Cobra Kai leg sweeps.
Cobra Kai and the Leg Sweeps.
Like from Karate Kid.
Yeah. So we just took old 80s pop songs, like George Michael songs.
Sick.
And turned them into punk rock songs. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, because I think at that stage I kind of had done music for so long and writing music, like, I just want to do something simple and might just take a couple of songs and rehash them, and it kind of became fun and it was easy, and I got together with some mates I used to go to school with and said, let's just have fun and do this.
No way.
Yeah, people loved it. We'd play and they'd be singing along. How do I know this song? They're singing along to it.
Wow, man.
That's like, remixes in house and electronic music and stuff.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. So it's called adapt.
Yeah, that's it.
As a teenager and, finishing high school, like, what were you doing in those initial years in your sort of late teens, early 20s, to make your way in this world, like make a living and sustain yourself?
Not much, man. I was kind of...
It's an interesting time. I always ask people about that because I just find it such a weird developmental time.
Yeah, I went to TAFE and did some stuff, wasn't into it. Like, I was kind of, cooking kind of stuff and waiting kind of stuff. Just like just to see what it was like. Didn't like it. Worked in a gym for a while. Did some personal training for a little bit. That was all right. I liked that, but I didn't like the hours.
Even back then,
because
personal training's only. It wasn't very very common. It wasn't very common back then.
I worked on the front desk of a gym, but then I was also the person, like I did the course, and then I was also the person that was running people through programs and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Gym, so
cool.
And I love that fitness side, obviously, but I just didn't like the hours. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you did that for years, or?
Nah, probably 2 or 3 years, maybe max. I'd reckon. And I worked. Had a shop. I opened up a shop for a while, that was later on.
What sort of shop?
Skate music shop.
Nice.
Yeah, and then
which area?
I was in Campbelltown.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that for a while, and had a couple of local guys that I'd sponsor, which was Simon, which was one of them.
Simon Wills.
Yeah.
Shout out Simon.
Yeah. And so we skated a bit together as well. But once again, they were skating all the time. I was part-time.
Part-time? Didn't feel compelled to try and keep up with anyone? Like you were satisfied?
I mean, the new parks were opening up, man. I was like keen to go and have a go.
Yeah, right. You weren't showing like, I've got to try and, skate as good as everyone else now, and didn't feel that.
I did feel sometimes disappointed in myself because I was thinking, man, there's some of the things that I could have done before I can't do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, you're there for fun at the end of the day.
You don't strike me as someone that was really hanging their sense of identity on skateboarding. Were you?
No, well, it was kind of, it just snowballed. Like when it started with the first sponsor and everything, it just kind of went from there. And I didn't set out to do that at all.
Well, so what was the first sponsor again?
First sponsor was Offshores, just a skate shop.
A skate shop?
Yeah.
Okay. And how old were you?
I reckon probably 13.
No way.
Yeah.
13.
Maybe 12 or 13.
And how did it come about? They just heard about you?
That was because of Kemp Field, and then
Just from ripping out of the bowl.
Yeah, skating there, and then someone said, Offshore's putting a team together and they want you on the team. And it's like, what do you mean a team? And straight away I thought, Bones Brigade or something like that, like a team, you know. So I thought, what is this? What's going on? They said, yeah, you got to go up there. And so I went up there, and then the dude that was he was on the phone that's working there, and then I heard him say, he's just come in right now. He's here now. I'll have a chat to him and I'll call you back. So he gets a phone and says, we're putting a team together. We want you to skate for us and blah, blah, blah. And there was a couple other guys, and it's like, okay. And then he goes, you got to sign a contract.
Contract?
Yeah, and I was like, contract? What the hell's a contract?
What did it? But I've got to know what was in that contract.
I don't even know. My mum read it. So I went home and told my mum, and she's like, what the hell? What's going on here? Contract? Like, no, we got to go up and see these people. What's happening here? And then so they went up to the shop and spoke to the shop owner, and he's like, look, it's not too serious, and you know, if you want to get out of it, you can. And basically, skates for us and doesn't skate for anyone else. And then through that was kind of out of like, I think it was sketchy streetwear clothing label, and then that went on to another sponsor came through that, which was stylized sunglasses, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think Lattes and a few others in America.
You were sponsored by it. You got some of them.
Yeah, so they gave us then. And they were too big for my little head. So I just gave them to my brother and to my sister and that. So, and then through that, after that came Venture. So, yeah, that was...
Ty mentioned that to me this morning, yeah. I forgot. You're on Venture Trucks.
Yeah, so that was same thing, skating Alawa, and Keith Cochran from Venture, Kevin Thatcher, a few other guys had come down to skate, and then we were like stuck.
So they came from America?
Yeah, purely just to skate Kemp Field.
Just to see you skate.
Yeah, so I don't know.
People
why
forget about Kevin Thatcher, but I mean, he was the original Thrasher editor.
Yeah,
but everyone's always like just refers to Jake Phelps.
Phelps.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
he was obviously launched. He got Thrasher to where it is, but
so they came down, and then they were skating. We were pretty stoked to have the American guys there and skating, and older guys, and you know, hearing the strong American accent in person, and it's like you used to look up to the American guys all the time. And then, then so skating there, and then not really chatting too much, just skating. And then when they were leaving, he pulled me aside and said, here's my card. When I'm back in the States in a couple of weeks, give me a call. I'm going to send you some products, and I'm going to think about putting you on the team. Yeah.
So it was a direct sponsorship. It wasn't through an Australian distributor and stuff.
I don't know how true it is, but some people have said it was the first, because they sponsored me and a few others, and we were the first to have the direct sponsors from America, like in Australia. I don't know how true that is. I don't know.
Ty, weigh in, Ty.
Ty will probably know.
Let's go.
Probably not too far off the mark, because there were guys sponsored by like JHS, who's been doing power forever, Steve Toohey and maybe some others, and they were definitely hooked up through the distro side of things. And then I guess, you know, Hardcore was doing Vision Streetwear and stuff. And you know, Lux and Glenn Robinson were on there. But obviously that was essentially distro or licensed or something like that. So I don't know of others who had direct sponsor. Not that I would have known then, because I was young and didn't know what was actually going on with that side of the industry.
Yeah.
Given the time frame, I feel like it would be pretty legit, because very few Australian skateboarders have achieved that, even in modern day.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Excuse me, a bit of a dry throat today. Wow. going back to Albert Bowl days, who was some like local heads or skaters that really influenced you or stood out back in the day?
Glenn Robinson was.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
he was the one. We used to just think he would just go there and just, it was like a toy to him. I think because he was so good on vert. He just had a natural ability as well. Like that was a guy that I would just be blown away watching skate there. Yeah.
Yeah, would you venture? I mean, were you venturing out at Alawa to skate? What other places were you going to around Sydney?
Well, there was
Fairfield.
Obviously, yeah, I love Fairfield. That was my favourite. That ramp is
mini
so
ramp?
good. Yeah, yeah, so good that ramp. Just used to love because it was so big and so wide, and you could transfer, and I love the spine, and yeah. So
Me and Ty were talking about this morning too on the way here. Like who were you skating with in that era? Like who was like the main skaters you were hanging with? For some reason, the name Steve Bull came to mind.
Steve Bull skated
Yeah.
with quite a bit. Spin, me and Spin skated a bit.
Spin.
Skated with Jake a little bit from the comp
Brown?
days. Yeah,
Yeah.
not too much with Jake because he was Cronulla, but we would still see each other at comps and stuff. And
Who do you reckon was pushing you though?
probably the older guys. The older guys
trying
kind
to
of,
mimic, trying to keep
yeah,
up.
because they had more power. Look, we were kids and we were young, so they had more power. So it was about kind of getting the power in our skating and skating faster and harder and going bigger. You know, so.
Who were the older guys then for you? Anyone that's
Yeah, Glenn
kept
Robinson. There was Paul Simpson who was in one of the mags with me. He was doing handrails back then. Like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not jump on rails, like ollie on handrails. So,
Because you never tried to be a vert guy, really, did you?
no, because there was no vert around.
That's interesting, hey? Because that era was so vert.
It was vert dominated,
Vertosis.
oriented for sure. Vertosis.
Well, that's Ty and I was saying before, and I was saying I loved the evolution of skating, how back then we were taking vert tricks to the street and then obviously to the bowls and whatever, but then as skating progressed and street skating became so popular, they were taking the street tricks to vert, and I just love that about skating and the evolution of it.
Did you have a hippie twist or 360 the island at Alawa?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's rad.
Yeah.
that-
And judo. It's funny, I've got the best photos I have. I don't have anymore because I sent them to Venture because he goes, send some photos. We want to put them on our wall. We want to put them for our ads and do all this kind of stuff. So me just being a stupid kid, just sent the photos I had, never had any backups of them. And one of them is a judo hippie twist over the island at
No
Campfield.
way.
That's sick.
Like, even by today's standards, like, was it early grab?
Early grab, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
But
no.
still.
Yeah.
Did you ever ollie the island and stuff? Did you get into
And
that stuff?
Glenn Robinson was the first. He started doing that.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away because he was not grabbing early. He was like ollieing. It was kind of like just floating over it, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then,
Wow.
yeah, and then so we started doing that too, like late grabbing over. But I never late grabbed 360 over or anything.
That's
Yeah.
insane, though, for
sure.
that era.
Was that the long way or the short way?
No, the short way.
The short, yeah, right. Did anyone ever do the long way?
I don't think so.
Like either or early or?
It was more of the speed. You couldn't get the speed, but we used to get like timber planks and put them from one of the seats going down into the bowl so you could kind of get more of a run up and more speed. But you would carve around the edge of the bowl and then drop in to try and get the speed, but you still couldn't get that speed you needed. Like if we could get the speed, we'll give it a go, I reckon.
Sure.
Yeah.
That era of skateboarding, the culture was synonymous with, hard skating and hard partying.
Yeah.
Did you get drawn into that aspect of it?
No, never.
Were you more just always clean living?
Yeah, I remember having going to parties. Like there was that era of when my parents moved out to out western suburbs, and that's kind of when skating kind of died off a little bit for me. Like I was still skating, I was still doing the comps and stuff, but skating was different then to the was with the city crew to the crew that were out west. And there was a bowl out there that we used to skate and a couple of bowls and still street skate. But I remember, parties from school and stuff and everyone would be getting on it and I'd be like, no, I'm getting up early to go for a skate. So I just,
Which is pretty unique for that era, hey, Ty?
Pretty much. But I mean, I guess it's sort of depending on what ages are you talking about here? Because that would have been pretty young.
Yeah, that was
just in context of Alloa days
Yeah.
and stuff. That was
that was after the Alloa days, so that would have been when I was like 14, 15.
But it was really
16.
all through the 90s as well, and early 2000s. It's only, I feel like, in more recent modern times that there's more of a clean culture.
Well, sure, everyone's training now, right?
Yeah,
as
it's
opposed to
different.
just skating, and there's more of that mentality. But I hear that, people generally just aren't drinking as much these days in general.
Yeah, I was talking to my last episode with Chad Caruso. We were talking about that, how, like, it's almost cliche to talk about sobriety journeys because, like, everyone's getting sober,
Sure.
And it's like, I feel like, the culture of alcohol drinking has just changed in our society, right?
It seems to have. I hear that, but I definitely know people who still drink and stuff.
But nowhere near as predominant as it was in the 80s, 90s. No way.
Sure. And, I mean, one would assume that that's somewhat social media based because everyone's out there clean living, whereas back then there wasn't that, and so everyone was just at the bar catching up drinking, and I guess that was your more social group, right?
Ooh.
As opposed to social media, and so everyone had to link up, and it was about that, and it was
I didn't think of that perspective.
old school Australia, just people drinking. I mean, not that people didn't drink in
So maybe
America and England or anywhere else either.
So maybe it's a negative byproduct of us being less social. I didn't think of it like that.
Neither did I either.
Good one. Man, you're smart. But I was also more thinking about how, like, there's this, like, movement of consciousness amongst people. People are becoming more conscious, like, and talking about it openly.
For sure.
Like, and then the extreme version of that is that this woke culture, which is just, it's a spectrum, obviously. So
Debatable spectrum.
we don't want to go there.
No.
Good.
I will add on to that. I find it, and this may sound really bad to say, but it's almost refreshing seeing people smoking cigarettes these days because it's so not out there, which is
healthy.
good. It's so much better but obviously people are vaping all the time. But it's like, oh my goodness, that person's smoking because you just never see it
People
now.
still do that?
Dude.
They're fully right.
I see someone smoke down and go, oh, yeah, like, I want to get some of that secondhand smoke. It smells, that doesn't smell like pineapples or bananas or whatever.
Exactly.
Triggers memories of whatever.
Like totally. Well, the pub, when you used to go to the pub and everyone smoked, and then they, you had to smoke 3 feet or 6 feet from the bar, and then they dropped it all together, and then it was like, all right, I don't smell like a cigarette when I get home now.
They have the smoking section and non-smoking section. It was just petitioned off like with a plant or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, man. I must admit, I'm glad there's no smoking in bars anymore. Far out.
100%.
You'd have asthma. Like,
It was disgusting.
yeah.
I remember going on, we did a demo in Bathurst, and it was me, Danny Van, who else was there? A few other guys, I can't remember now actually, and we caught the train down there, and we had the berth that we had was like a closed door, and they were all smoking.
Right.
I was like, oh man, this is killing me! Like all this
No
smoke,
way.
all this smoke.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and your clothes are ruined. Like, you got to wash them.
Yeah.
But going back to the vaping, man, I heard a conspiracy theory about vaping the other day. It's pretty funny. I don't know if you've heard it. Have you heard it?
Not sure.
Well,
Please
you know
tell.
how vapes are technically illegal and they're unregulated. Did you know that?
Basically, yeah.
And no one actually really knows what's in them.
Yeah.
And they're all made in China.
Yeah.
And this dude was trying to tell me that it's a form of chemical warfare. They're trying to kill us off with vapes.
Wow, no, I have not heard that
So
one, I have to
I'm
say.
happy to put that out there because I can't imagine that shit's healthy in any way.
Anything's plausible these days.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, and if it's like that, maybe they're all bugged or something, rather, because they're all electronic.
Who knows, man? It's the strangest time I can ever imagine. Like, I've been tripping out on all that stuff and just the advent of AI. Like, I use AI, and I'm just going like, this is just getting too weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. And as we briefly discussed the other day, you can, as a teacher yourself, you can for the most part, tell when a student has done an assignment using, AI, ChatGPT, whatever it happens to be. And I was saying with the writing I've been doing, I enjoy the process of the writing. I don't need something to do it for me because that sort of defeats the creative purposes we're talking about. And going back to skating or music or whatever it may happen to be, art, the creative part of it is cool. And that's where you get kind of similarly to skating, but not as extreme, the adrenaline from, and you get that feeling from, you're like, that actually works, with whatever you come out with, as opposed to this is the best thing because I plugged it in and got this outcome because of my spark of idea. It's actually your whole follow through.
Good point. Yeah. I mean, my question to you then is like, is it progressing us or is it hindering us? That's what I can't get my head around. I don't know if it is actually progressing, helping us to progress and go to new levels. So,
well, I guess at best, it's a facilitator to progress. At worst, it's cheating.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's true. And again, I just can't understand why you'd want to inhale flavoured air. I just still can't work it out.
Well, people
if it's got weed in it, I get it.
Yeah,
because I want to get higher.
It's going to do something for you.
Yeah, and even nicotine. I'm like, I've never been a smoker, but apparently that's a good hit. But I don't know. Anyway, but I want to go back to your journey a little bit. You said that you're a personal trainer for a while, and then you opened a shop. Where did your life take you from there? Did the shop succeed?
I sold the shop after 3 years. Had it, and it was difficult.
What was it called?
Sector 7G.
Yeah, right.
Which was from The Simpsons.
Was it?
Oh,
Homer works. Sector 7G.
That's amazing. Everything comes back to The Simpsons.
Yes, it does. Yeah, so, look, it was difficult. I suppose it was hard for me to try to run a business. Never done it before. We had a lot of bands playing out the front as well.
Sick.
We'd do stuff like that.
So you're trying to nurture the scene.
Yeah, we were. The scene was pretty good, man, back then for music out west. Like we were pretty busy playing and trying to help other bands and putting on shows, and I would sell some stuff at shows as well, some merch and all that from the shop. And so it was fun. It was good, but it was kind of difficult. Sold that, and then I got.
What years were they?
That was probably 96, maybe 96,
wow.
97.
Okay.
Yeah. Then after that, I got offered to do the skate section at MacArthur General Pants, and I was like, nah, big corporation, nah, I'm against it, not doing it. I was just
so you're a little bit on the anti-establishment side.
Yeah, a little bit. I was just kind of there because I had a small business. They were a big business. And I was like, they're in it for the wrong reasons. I'm here for the right reasons. But we're all there to make money, aren't we? Yeah. So, I think it was just my way of thinking then. And then, so
that's how switched on you were. Like I say, with the innovative skating, you thought that. And I don't think I had a bit of that mentality when I was younger, but that's cool that you thought that way and you wanted to keep it real as such.
It may have been more detrimental to me. I don't know, but thanks.
Well, to some side, but that's sort of what we were talking about before, like progressing as a person, I guess, spiritually as opposed to materially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I did that. I worked at General Pants for probably 12 to 18 months or something. I remember saying the lady who was asking me to work there, and I said, look, I don't really like the music that you're playing there. And I was just like, I don't know. And she goes, you can play your own kind of music as well and all this. I'm thinking, So I was selling the business at the time, and I thought, all right, I've got nowhere else to go at the moment. I'll just go and do that for now. And then so I went there, and look, it wasn't too bad. It was pretty cool. Like I was doing all the skate stuff, and I was meeting other skaters as well. And I was still skating a bit then, but not much. It was just more because I had a role in the park at Campbelltown, the design and stuff.
Cool.
Like that.
The first one, like the donut.
No, not that one.
Oh that
was
the one
Bradbury
at
Bowl.
Okay, but Bradbury Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, that was where we used to skate. Obviously, that was back in the late 80s, early
Yeah,
90s.
I mean, that thing was hard to skate too, right?
Yeah, there was a big wall on it, which wasn't too bad, and you could kind of launch out of it, I suppose. And
Well, which one are you talking about? The one at Lumia?
Yeah, Lamau,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on that for the committee for that, getting that put in. And then the council put me and Simon through a skate
Shout out,
coaches
Pilsy.
clinic.
Sorry, I'll do it every time. I love him. Sorry, we had a really good chat with. I had a really good chat with Simon the other day. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, we've had plenty of good chats.
Yeah.
Me and him, yeah. So we put, so they put us through a skate coaching clinic, and Lux was doing it. So
you became an accredited skate
yeah,
coach?
became a skate coach.
No
Did a little bit of work with that, the parks. Yeah,
Dude.
so that was pretty cool. But look, it's one thing. I remember listening to Ty's podcast, and a lot of the kids just want to run up the ramp and run. Now, some of the kids didn't really want to skate. They were just there because their parents were wanting to.
Parents
do it,
want to teach them something
yeah,
for a bit.
and with skating, you can kind of guide and tell people what to do. Keep your shoulders above the board, feet on top of the deck bolts type of thing, and faster, slower, whatever. But you've got to do it. Like, you can't really learn much without.
You've got to want it too.
That's what you've got to want it. Yeah, and yeah, so we did that. Yeah, Lux did the.
Adam Luxford.
Yeah, and I've known Lux for years as well. Obviously through that old era of skating, I loved his skating as well. So, so he took the course, and then did that. So I did a little bit of work with that.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Accredited skate coach.
Yeah.
I think Ty's hiring, actually. Flow skate. Shout out Flow skate.
Definitely blowing up.
Yeah. How is that going?
Yeah, it's been building, and I've been working with some amazing kids, and it's really cool to be involved with them and engaged with them, and seeing the outcomes of little bits of input that you give them. I mean, I've sort of mostly been working with crew who are well on their journey as such, and then so it's like finding the angles as to what you can offer them in that stage, and then seeing that come off is great, either be it in tricks or putting runs together, putting lines together and stuff.
Yeah, and I also love how you're educating them about the culture, and like you're doing it through your blogs and stuff like that, giving them a history lesson or access to a history lesson if they want it, which I think is very unique to other skate coaches. Not to say that, I think that's a really good angle you bring, because your history in skateboarding is so deep in this country. So
sure, and I think now is a good time to do that, because skateboarding's a fairly young thing overall, and it's gotten now historical figures such as Tony and many others for sure, and so it's starting to get that depth of time to be able to tell those stories, and it's not just kind of like necessarily talking about yesterday or just reminiscing for the sake of it was better or whatever, but there's actually sort of a point to it now, because the new generations have absolutely no idea, like necessarily, unless they're specifically looking for that. And so to be able to put that out there, and I guess case in point with my blog now and whoever else is doing whatever they're doing, like all these podcasts and stuff, they're there as they're in the vernacular, they're in the realm of searchable stuff, and so you can come across all these things and really learn, and then what it, that there is that history there, and how it's evolved, and the people who have stuck with it either via skating, such as Tony and Cab and others, many others, and then the ones who are just industry based and keeping the dream alive. You know what I mean? And the same goes through music and everything else. And I was going to say, and Luxford doing his thing, going back to Luxford, and he's historical now, and him coaching, and he's had a big part of everything as well, and he's a bit more behind the scenes. And well, that's what I was going to say with his coaching. He also, I've known that he also imparts historical stuff and tries to teach that to the kids coming through as well.
That's the big thing with the advent of, you can't deny it. You go to all these beautiful skate parks now, and there's just lots of skate coaches doing it privately or in groups, and I'm sorry, I know there's good ones and they're necessary, but there's very few that are able to bring what you and Lux would bring, in my opinion. So, but it wasn't for you necessarily.
What do you mean?
Like the skate coaching, being a skate coach.
I didn't do it much. It's the same thing. Like they've got to want to do it. If they don't want to do it, I don't want to push them to do it. It's like I teach guitar as well. I was teaching guitar for a while.
Sick.
And sometimes the parents will bring their kid to play guitar, but they're not going home learning what I'm teaching them. They'd come back for the next lesson and then they haven't done anything. So it's almost, what's the point?
Yeah,
like,
you can't.
If they want to do it, I'm happy to teach them and guide them and do whatever. But if they don't want to, I don't want to push them. You know, so
Was it your sole income though when you were doing that stuff, like the skate coaching?
No,
were you
that's
just doing other odd jobs?
Well, I was doing the skate coaching when I had my shop, but I didn't do much of it. Like it was the council that would run like, you know, kind of school holiday sessions and seminars and stuff, and get us to go down and do a little bit. And I had like I did, you know, that if there was comps on or something, I would sometimes judge the comp or whatever.
And you're working at General Pants?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. How long did you work there for?
Not long, 12 to 18 months or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then where did life take you from there?
I went into disability work after that.
Did you?
Yeah. And then, so I became like a social educator.
What's that mean?
So I was just kind of helping kids with disabilities in the home. And then from there, I went into work for Department of Human Services, doing in like community kind of work. And then that's put me into where I am today, which is with the NDIS, doing disability.
Still doing that?
Yeah, so doing planning, doing all the funding for people with disabilities and stuff. Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I do. It's pretty good, yeah. And it gives you a reality on your own life and what, you know, we kind of dwell on things, and then I think, wow, look at these people. You know, I'm doing plans for these people, and some are for adults that are still living with their parents, and the parents have to look after them, and you just realise what you've got. You know, and how lucky we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's giving you like gratitude.
Definitely. Yeah.
Wow. Do you feel like you're contributing to society as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
That's
making their life so much better, and it's just puts a reality on my life. It makes me appreciate things.
Empathetic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you always felt like an empathetic person?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I think so.
Even as a young person? Like you?
I think probably younger I didn't realise as much, 'cause it's more about just what you're doing and all that. But as I've gotten older, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I'm noticing as I get older. I feel like I'm softening.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like I just want to be as kind as I can be.
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's just inside me. I just want to be kind and gentle.
We're approaching 50 and I think life changes, man.
Yeah, like it's a chemistry change or
And
something.
not only that, I've seen mates that have passed.
Have you?
From different
what way?
illnesses and suicide and all different stuff. So you realise, like, man, life's short and we're lucky. We've got our health. Like, health is wealth, man, you know. So if we've got our health, then we're the richest ever. And if we're happy, then that's all we need.
I love you said that. We're so delicate, hey Ty?
Most definitely. We're so strong, but yet so delicate. Like it can all be over in a second.
Yeah.
You know, realistically.
Can we talk about your recent experience? How do you feel about that?
Talking about it or the experience?
Well, did it because you had a very unexpected issue, medical issue.
Subdural hematoma, i.e. bleed on the brain.
Bleed on the brain.
Yeah.
Caused by nothing in particular.
Apparently not.
I mean, was it sobering? Like,
sure. Definitely. But I think I've already been on a self-developmental sort of life path of recent years anyway, but it was definitely shocking to discover that and then having it taken care of. Like, in a sense, I wouldn't say it's changed me that much because I believe that I've already had a sense of self-awareness and stuff, but it was definitely an experience to deal with. I mean, apparently the surgeon said it could happen much easier than one would anticipate because, you know, basically 93 to 99% of them are due to a direct head trauma of some sort. So that means is 1 to 7%, which are apparently spontaneous. The only thing I could put it down to, like physically, is just this bike hanging from the roof in my garage and getting out of my car too quickly and not thinking about it and hitting my head on the bar of the bike. That's the only actual physical thing that I can put it down to. No, it wasn't skate related at all, because they said it would only happen within 2 to 4 weeks of the bleed happening. It wouldn't be a long-term thing. The only other time I'd fallen on my head previously to that was like 2.5 years before, and I had a helmet on, and it didn't hurt. I didn't get concussed or anything, but I slid on my head in Sydney Park Bowl. But I was like, oh, that, and they're like, no, it's in recent history, for sure.
Wow. And how are you feeling?
I feel fine. Great. Yeah. All my faculties are good, and it's all working, thankfully, as good as they were before, as such.
Because it was pretty gnarly. Like, they had to cut your head open.
Correct.
What did that look like? They actually cut your skull open?
Yeah, they cut my skull open. They opened it up and cut a plate out about 5 centimetres in circumference or so, and had to scrape out and drain out the blood and congealed blood that was in there after it had been in there for a couple of weeks, basically. And then, they put the plate back in, and with a couple of rivets. I got a couple of titanium rivets in my head, like rat nuts. And then they sew it back up again. And
so how did you know? How did this come about? Were you feeling anything, or was this?
I had headaches for basically 6 days straight, and I've got a history of minor headaches over time. But this was like 6 days straight, no sleeping, just pain, and finally took myself to emergency and asked for the scan, basically, and long story short, asked for the scan, and they came back not long after and said, you've got a bleed on your brain. Have you hit your head lately? I'm like, no. They're like, that's really weird then.
And what, straight into surgery?
No, they kept me for observation, partially because I'd been on aspirin, which thins your blood, so they couldn't tell how much it had been bleeding, because the aspirin contravenes that, having blood thinners. So we'll observe you. And then so on the 4th day after that, the 10th day of having the headaches, I don't remember that day. Basically, I vomited on myself. I don't remember the scan. I was getting the year wrong. Wow. And then I just woke up with a tube sticking out of my head and going, I guess they did the surgery. and that was that.
What would have happened? Did they say what would happen if you didn't go to see them?
I guess the main thing it probably would have developed into was a stroke, pretty much, because of pressure on the brain. It was like, by the time they did the surgery, it was 11 millimetres deep in a fairly big surface area of the front sort of right quadrant of my head. And it just would have developed into a stroke, and then that would have messed up all things, neurologically and motor-neurologically as well. So, but thankfully I got it before
early
that
detection.
happened. Early, but the headaches were wrong. People were like, oh, you're lucky you went. And I was like, man, those headaches, there was no way I was dealing with that. That was an anomaly. This is not right at all.
Dude.
Serious.
Dude, you seem like you're really on top of your game health-wise, man. So in the course of your life, never had any scares of any time?
No, just the back injuries and shoulder injuries. And the kind of back injury started from skating.
Yeah, okay.
Doing stairs and stuff, obviously. And then it's kind of, it just happened with boxing a lot. And
shoulder.
I think, the back as well. Shoulders. Yeah. So, and it's just getting older, man. Sorry, guys.
Did you see therapists for that?
Yeah, I've had heaps of physio, and I've seen chiros. Done it all.
Nice. Yeah. Health is wealth, man. It's worth investing in. It's funny, I went and bought a whole bunch of supplements the other day, and it was expensive. My friend's like, why are you spending so much money on supplements? I'm like, because it's cheaper than being sick. Yeah. People forget prevention is better than cure. Yeah. It's just like, and I'll invest in going on an osteo.
You know what? Even if it's a placebo, if it's working, you feel good. Great.
Yeah. People say that a lot of people say that chiro is just placebo and stuff. But I've got a great chiro I've been seeing for 30 years, Linda Power. Yeah. I'll plug her for sure. But Bondi Junction, and also Sunshine Coast. I rate chiro big time. And I believe it's helped me, but she's not a cracker. Yeah. It's SOT, sacro-occipital technique.
Okay. What's that mean?
It's like joining up the nerve lines more so, opening up nerve lines.
Okay.
And she's cracked me about 3 times in the 30 years that I've seen her, but otherwise it's just you get blocked, put blocks under your hips and it sort of realigns, like lets things sit back into place.
Get the blood flowing.
Yeah, blood flow, all of that. So was there something similar to that with you, Darren?
I had the crack. They did the cracking like my pelvis. My pelvis was out, and it felt better. Like because I was seeing physio, and I was seeing different physios, and I was doing all the exercises, and was still playing up. And then I had someone who said, "You need to maybe see a chiro." I know everyone knows someone who's so good, you know. So it's like, oh, yeah, I've heard these stories before. And then I went and saw him, and he goes, "Yeah, I know what's wrong with you. I can get you fixed, I reckon." I was like, "All right, well, let's do it." So I see him once a week, and he was helping me out. Like I still do have recurring back issues, and I haven't seen the chiro or physio because I kind of know now what it is, and I know how to fix it. So it's resting and it's doing core exercises and doing that. And same with my shoulder. So same thing. I know what to do and what not to do. And I had to surf yesterday. I was hurting a bit, like paddling a bit, but it wasn't too bad. So just.
Do you drink much? Are you a drinker?
I don't drink at all.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I have maybe a couple of cocktails. I've never had a beer in my whole life.
Wow.
So,
No, you've tried it.
I've had a sip, didn't like it, never had it again.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I never liked beer the first time I tried it.
that's what everyone said. Oh, you got to
But
acquire a taste to it.
I just,
Like,
because everyone else was doing it,
Yeah.
I was like, I
It's
better,
like,
I
yeah,
better
no.
learn to
Well, that's
like
it.
it. And I never liked it.
I was like, yeah, everyone's doing it, but I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. People were pretty good, like, the whole peer pressure thing.
Yeah.
They would try for a while, and I was just like, yeah, no, I don't want to do it. And then they just gave up.
Yeah.
They gave up trying to get me to drink. They knew I wasn't going to.
Nice. Oh, that's good, man. I think you're better for it. That's for sure. No, I feel much better for not drinking too. So
Yeah, the first time I got drunk, I was like in my 40s. So,
Wow.
no,
yeah.
are you serious?
Yeah.
So you're telling me you got through like your teens and your 20s
Yeah.
without experimenting and
Yeah,
getting
and
drunk?
I was playing in punk bands and hardcore bands back then. People were like, oh, you're straight edge. And I go, no, I'm not straight edge. I just don't drink. Like,
Dude, like, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really admirable.
yeah, especially that scene too, the music scene. You're always playing in pubs and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and I think I used to see what people used to do when they were drinking. It was a good laugh a lot of times, but also, people get aggressive or they get emotional or they just, they don't know what they're saying and
make bad decisions.
make bad decisions. Totally. Yeah.
Wow, dude. So interesting.
You were saying earlier when we were talking that you don't consider yourself spiritual or so self-aware, but I think that's, as Miriam pointed out, she thinks you're definitely a lot more than you are. And I was going to say, going to the NDIS work, like obviously that's helping other people and doing that sort of thing, which would have those sorts of connotations about it being, potentially being a spiritual kind of path in some senses of wanting to help other people. And so why did you get into the NDIS stuff to start with?
Yeah, good question, man. I think it's, like you're saying, just helping others. Like I do like it. So I like to see, especially people who are less fortunate than us, I like to see them get a leg up. Always go for the underdog kind of thing, So, yeah.
Do you have an idea of where that, came from?
Nah, don't know. I think maybe in primary school, like I got bullied in primary school. So, and from then I've just hated bullies, man. Like and I think maybe could have come from something like that.
That makes some sense. It's a respectable way of thinking about it, I would say, for sure.
So, yeah, it could have been that. And just like I, would want to stick up for anyone who's less fortunate and needs help.
That's awesome.
Dude. So, yeah, still doing that disability stuff, hey? It's really cool. I mean, I guess like where you are at now in life, and we mentioned our age or your age range, are you feeling a lot more content, say, compared to,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Feeling a contentment with where you're at?
Yeah.
And what's important?
Yeah, health is important. Now that we know, that's what we're saying. We
Just
know people that have become sick, and Ty's had that happen to him, and we all probably know someone who has had something and now at this age, and mental health as well. So it's important, health, if, and there was so much drive for success, but what is success? You know, and how do you gauge success? Do you gauge success
question.
from other people? Yeah, like to me, success is happiness.
Haha.
So if like, health is wealth, success is happiness. If you're happy, you're successful. It doesn't matter your materialistic thing. It's funny because you know people say, oh, "What are they worth?" or "What are you worth?" or if you got all your belongings and you sold them, or how much money? Who cares? Like it's just monetary value. Like it's
Because it comes, man, and it goes. It can go to.
totally yeah.
Well, it's literally superficial, right, to the body. It doesn't really, and so the internals are what matters. And I guess I could attribute my doing not so badly with such an affliction. You would think, you know, something in your brain, they're touching your brain and all that. I would attribute my success of coming out of that, relatively speaking, unscathed, except for not being able to drive for 3 months, is a level of health that I like to keep. You know what I mean? For sure.
Yeah.
Would you regard being on Home and Away as successful?
No, not at all, man. That was just same thing.
Can we talk about that? How did that come? How did you end up on Home and Away, man?
So that came through skating as well. So me, Josh,
you're a good-looking kid. Still a good-looking kid. But what happened?
Well, you almost had the McSqueeb going, the blonde McSqueeb.
what's the next word?
Tony, the brush over long hair.
Yeah, I did
blonde
have
thing.
that at some. I think we all had kind of something like that done at one point. The Tony Hawk do.
So what happened? Like, you were just
Well, it started with when I skated for the shop offshore, and then the ABC asked, they wanted some skaters and it was me, Josh Lovell, and I think Paul Simpson.
Wow.
name.
Yeah, and we skated this half pipe, and Josh had to put on a chicken suit. I can't even remember what it was for now. It was some kids show on ABC, I think. And then to do that, we had to join Actors Alliance, Actors Equity, or something like that. And then it's like, okay, no worries. So that was, and then later on in life, someone had said to me, Home and Away are looking for skaters and surfers. Would you be interested? You have to and then I said, oh yeah, I'd join Actors Equity, but I had to rejoin and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I said, I'll do it. So there's some credits at the end of some of the shows where I'm just surfing in the background and did some skating. I don't think they put that on there. I was in a school, and all that. And then I don't think that went to air. And then they offered me a couple of, do you want to just do, and I didn't have a job at the time. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do, some extras work. And then it just got onto then a speaking part where I played a drug addict. And then
So wait up, you got extra work on Home and Away.
yeah.
And then
And that actually led to a few other things as well. So a couple of little commercials. I
the
wasn't
speaking part.
yeah. I wasn't in that industry for long. I was probably there for maybe not even a year, man, probably 9 months or something. I really didn't like it. Didn't like the industry. Didn't like it was really good to see how they do things and how things work. But the industry, the people, I don't know. I just didn't feel it was me. It wasn't comfortable.
It didn't inspire you to want to pursue it more.
No, not at all. Yeah, it totally I thought, okay, maybe this is something like an avenue I could go down and see what it's like. But it was good to try it and then kind of get out of it and not have to worry about doing that again.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay. There you go. There it is. There's the perspective. What, you on a TV show once? Does that Bondi reality show? No.
No,
I think it's something
not
else.
Really. No, not a TV show.
Okay.
I've been on a couple of ads and stuff.
Which ones?
The main one I remember is kind of funny. It was around the time of World Expo '88, and obviously they're trying to spruik Australia, and it was for a brand of chips called Boomeroos, and they were shaped like little kangaroos, and the tagline was "Boomeroos get you hopping," and then so I'm doing an ollie. On the screen, and as they're singing hopping or whatever, I'm doing an ollie for it. Yeah.
I had a thing on Kodak film as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I was on a billboard, and they
That's
had
sick.
Konica film, I think it was, and then so there was a Konica in the middle of the picture. There was a Konica film box, and they had people walking into the box, and it was in black and white, looked a bit boring, and then coming out of the box was all this colour and people coming out. I was coming out on the skateboard, pushing.
Did you get paid?
Yeah, I got paid that. I think I was literally there for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And they pay, I think I got about $800 or $900 or something.
Because I was on an ad once. I was on a Buttercup bread ad with Cameron Guzev, and they came to our high school and said, we need skateboarders for our ad. Come to these auditions. And it was like, the audition was at this terrible skate park in that just had jump ramps, and they just wanted just to go off the jump ramp. So we did, and they picked me and Cam. And then they built us a jump ramp, and it was in front of this silo, like a big silo, like I don't know, because it was a bread ad. We just had to go off it a bunch of times, and they had the full production crew, and it took us like half the day. We got paid $500 each. We're just like, what?
You're stoked and stuff like that.
Pardon me. And then the ad went to theatres, and I'll never forget, like a year later, I got a royalty check. I was like, what? I've got the dry throat, excuse me. So anyway, it's good.
Yeah, if all the gigs were like that, it'd be all right. But, it's not like that. You've got to go to castings and do all that kind of bullshit.
You didn't like that side?
Nah, it was just...
And didn't want to try and hook up with any of the home and away actresses?
Nah.
Come on, man.
I don't think they want anything to do with me.
It's so funny. Sorry, I'm going to have to get a drink of water. Ty, take it away. Keep asking him questions. Let's go.
Just on that, not being into things, I remember shooting something for it was a TV show. I don't think it was Home and Away, but it was something along there, and it was at Bondi Pavilion, and it was raining. They wanted to shoot outside because it was raining. They couldn't, and so we were undercover there, and they were like, do something. And I remember like just sort of side sliding and just the wheels doing that. And I think because I was kind of like, this is sort of similar to you in this. I was like, this is a bit pretentious, and I was a bit weirded out by the whole thing. So I was doing these slides, and I reckon that was just doing the sound director's head in or whatever. And I don't think I never got like asked to do, because I did a few castings and stuff, and I never got asked to do any of that after that time as well, because I was like, whatever's.
Yeah, and you sit around doing nothing like all day.
Yeah,
it's like,
that.
it's just, and I just like, this is fucking boring, man. Like I want to be doing something. So
yeah, for sure. You kind of it was about wanting to be more proactive in the whole process, right?
A waste of time a lot of times. But like I said, I didn't have a job at the time, so it kept me going just while I wasn't working. And it's good to see the scene, see how they do things, as I said, but not my thing.
No, fair enough. But I mean, pretty cool that you got to be on Home and Away, which is such an iconic
I guess
show for Australia, for many generations of people. So that's something.
Yeah, and those parts did, like, it kept me going because I paid okay. So, I guess if it was more gigs like that and it was just easy, perhaps could have kept going. But I wasn't up for all the castings and doing all that stuff.
Chasing it.
Yeah, chasing it. Yeah.
Sure.
I've not really chased anything though. Same with skate. It just fell into skating, like with sponsors and all that, and then music was kind of the same. Never chased anything. We had a few offers here and there, like labels and stuff, but you're dictated by their terms, and so we were just like, no, we want to do it our way, and we didn't care about any other stuff. But you kind of with the music thing, if you're not in the scene, you don't get the good international supports, and you don't get to. They don't push you and promote you through the labels and stuff. So that was hard as well. So you're just doing it yourself. So
sure,
yeah.
But that comes back to the whole reason of so many things, and I guess you could split it to creatives and not creatives or whatever. Passion driving things, and you really, and you wanting to stick to your guns, not working for a corporate and stuff, and passion, which makes a lot of things happen, basically, passion and imagination.
It does, and I think I know, meeting a lot of musicians and when we're playing around and stuff, and some that had record labels, and they were kind of, once again, what's success, but successful maybe in their eyes or other people's eyes, but they kind of got jaded by the whole music industry, and they don't touch any instruments anymore. They hate music, and it's kind of, and I never wanted that to happen. I love music. I want to do it for the rest of my life. So I'm not jaded by it because we just did it our own way. You're in Australia, to make a living out of music in Australia is so hard. And I kind of always knew that. So I always had a job and did music on the side because I love it. So I just thought, if we do it our own way, I'll keep doing it. I might be jaded by it.
Pragmatic approach.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it is. Yeah.
Somewhat. Keeping things separate, like little boundaries and stuff, and to not get confused. Because I got a bit confused with sponsorship in my skating years, and it was conflicting. It's like doing things because I felt I had to do it, as opposed to doing things like because I wanted to do it, and it was a hard thing to deal with, for sure. Yeah,
doing demos and stuff as well. I suppose with the skating, like I didn't mind doing demos, but there was a couple. I think it was my 14th birthday, and Offshore had flown me to Alice Springs. They were opening a store there, and they wanted me to do a demo in the bowl there, and it was going to be other skaters. And then I was there, and I was on my own, so I had to do the demo on my own in the bowl there. So, and it was like, oh man, this is quite hard. I got to skate on my own. Everyone's around, and like I'm the dude that they've sent over to do the demo, and it was. It was difficult, man. I felt like there was like a lot of pressure,
The distinction of work and play as such.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool that they flew me over and did all that kind of stuff, but it was quite odd when I was doing it on my own.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of just sponsors, so sort of we drifted away from that, as you do. Yep. So Offshore was the first sponsor. Did that have affiliation with Skull Skates? And I remember there was a couple of sister companies that all fitted together. So what happened there?
Yeah, Offshore had Sketchy Streetwear. I think Danny Van was skating for Sketchy as well. I'm not sure who else was. But Skull Skates came through Skateboarders Only distribution. So that was Skull Skates and Dogtown. So I was on Skull Skates for a while through them. And Alva, and
so was that was Colin Brown, right? I think
not too sure, but I think Blake was on there for a Blake Convey as well.
Yeah,
was on there, and Danny was on there, and a few others. So that was kind of through them. The only direct USA one was Venture.
Yeah,
and then, so from Offshore went. Obviously, I had Offshore and Venture together, and then like I said, Stylo Sunnies, and then Sketchy Streetwear, which was a little brand from them. And then it went on to Skateboarders Only. I don't even know how that came about, but they just started flowing me stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah, through. And then it was like, I remember reading in a magazine as Rudolph is now on Alva or something like that. And I didn't even know.
You're like, yes, I'm on Alva.
Oh, okay. I'm on Alva now. So they were sending me stuff. But I think just because it's the distribution, they've obviously taken on probably Skull Skates, Alva, and Dogtown. I could be wrong here, I don't know, but that's what I was just assuming. I didn't ask too many questions. I was just like skating, and they'll fly me stuff, and I was pretty stoked. Poor family can't afford stuff, so
yeah. Man, it's amazing, amazing memories, right?
Yeah, it's great.
I'll have that forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot about legacy as I get older. Like, what am I leaving in the world? Bit of a deep question for you, but. What would you like your legacy to be in this world once you've passed?
I don't know.
What do you want to be remembered for most?
Probably just being kind to people, man. I suppose. Yeah,
good answer. Pass.
Yeah, anything else. I don't leave a legacy, man. Like skateboarding was just a thing. Like I said, part-time skater. I probably had that short time in history where, had the sponsors and stuff, I guess. But after that, it was, not doing too much with it. I was just on and off.
But your music too, this is recorded, published music.
Yeah.
That's going to be around long after you've passed.
Yeah, that's true.
How cool is that?
Yeah, there's stuff on YouTube, stuff on Spotify, albums and that. But yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah.
Anyway.
If it's good.
Even if it's bad though, it's still documented who you were in that time in history,
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And that makes it good.
There's a couple...
And also it sounds like it's authentic because, these are original songs. There's thought and effort gone into...
Yeah, one of the film clips we recorded, we were on tour, so there's some skating in that because we'd have our boards with us, and one of the other guys in the band skated as well, the band I play guitar in, and then so we would stop off at skate parks on the way and have a bit of a skate. And
sick.
Yeah, and then so some of that was in some of the film clips and just us hanging out.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
So how did this, just on that, how did the sponsorship stuff end? Because I I didn't really know that you kept skating basically forever. You know what I mean? It was like you weren't sponsored and you weren't prominent, and then because we hung out a little bit, you know, come and stayed at your place a couple times, and we spent a bit of time together like that. But then, you weren't there anymore as such. And so, what happened there?
I think moving out west did it a lot, and we, no internet, no mobile phones. You lose contact with people, and then I noticed everyone was just like stopping skating. And skating to me was kind of like I was saying before with music, like it's a social thing. I love getting together with people, skating with people. So I'd skate on my own for a little bit, but I would just lose motivation. And then unless I had like a mini ramp or something fun to skate, like I'd skated all the same spots in the streets and the schools and done everything. And I wanted somewhere new to go and skate, and I didn't have numbers of people. And then it was kind of, everyone I knew and some of the older guys that were skating were kind of stopping and not skating. And I'd be ringing people, you want to go for a skate? And they're like, nah. And they just slowly just dwindled off, man. And just, and I kind of just stopped. I was just like skating again, far and few between, like, a few weeks off here and there, then skate another week, then not skate, then skate. And then didn't have the sponsors. So then my board would be trashed and I didn't have the
like
sponsors.
skating.
So, then I
never
thought,
fresh board.
then I had to buy a board and stuff, buy stuff. So I was like, and there wasn't
boo-hoo.
there wasn't
I don't
even
feel sorry for you.
then there wasn't even any skate shops around. And then I actually met a girl when I was probably about 21 maybe, and then she bought me a board because she said, she didn't know anything about the skate history and stuff, and then someone had told her and said some stuff, and then she goes, I didn't know that about you with skateboarding and that, and said, and she goes, why don't you skate now? I said, I don't have a board. So she's like, okay, I'm going to buy you one. I said, all right. So she bought me a board, and then I was back on again. And
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice one,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
Speaking of mini ramps, just quickly, did that pink mini ramp you took me to once, and there was half of it was built with a flat bottom and one wall, and it was about 6 foot or something. You took me there when we were out there. Do you remember that? And did that ever get finished?
Never got finished.
Damn.
I know.
It looked like it was going to be amazing.
Yeah, it did, yeah. It's going to be good. Mini ramps are my favourite thing to skate. That's what I love the best. So I love Fairfield, and, if a good mini ramp is around, especially if it's wood.
For sure,
I don't get to
right.
skate wood anymore, so.
Especially these days.
Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so a bit softer too.
Exactly that.
Yeah. But the big trophy up there is from Fairfield.
Right.
Sick.
That was one of the Fairfield comps.
What place for it?
First.
Yeah.
That's sick, man. That's awesome. I don't recall that.
Yeah, that was 1990, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you spin the spine?
God, you would have beat all
I
the
did a 180. I'll do lean 180s over it.
That was sick. That's a sick one.
Dude.
Never 360 over it.
because you would have beat all the heavy hitters at the time. Like, yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't know.
maybe you were one of the heavy hitters. Yeah, because like that era, there was who would you been up against? Like probably even like people like Glenn Scott or
Yeah.
also skating Fairfield.
Chad.
Vichan.
Vichan,
talking
yeah.
about Vichan.
Was Skunk there?
Spin.
Skunk tells me he was there and around, but he was not. I don't know if he was in the comp or competing. They were kind of upcoming then. Because
right.
he tells me we've had a chat, and he said, "Yeah, I remember, man." And he's like, "I found out." And I go, "What do you mean?"
So he was still maybe a little. He hadn't turned into the complete animal that he's
he's probably my favourite Aussie skater.
In terms of like all round skater,
right, yeah.
he's the goat, man. Like who could just do everything, and then like
He's like the Danny Way to me.
for sure. But he's like he's a vert. Like, he can skate vert, but then like you see him on street, like not just his difficulty of tricks, but like he had steez on street as well.
He wasn't afraid, man.
You know what I mean? Like
go for it.
he just looked so good. Like some of those Juice videos,
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
was-
And the tech, obviously.
Tech.
Steve's and tech.
I love the
Steve's
skate.
tech.
That Skating Life. I think it's Skating Life. Picture of him on the cover doing the Melon to Fakie at Fairfield.
And that would have been, is that Slam or ASM?
Yeah, it might have been
What-
Slam. Yeah,
I think it might have been Slam.
I think
Yeah,
you're right.
tweaked melon to fakie. Yeah.
I think it was Slam. You're right. Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah, sick. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Anyway, how you feeling, man?
Good.
Ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, man.
I'm curious. So, what's next for you? You think?
Oh, mate, I don't know.
Just keep happy with where you're at in life.
Yeah,
And
got a 6-year-old daughter, so
congrats.
hanging out with her all the time and just living life with her. Still doing music, so I had a jam on Wednesday with some of the boys here.
Yep.
And not doing music as much. I'm doing more acoustic stuff at the moment.
Just like solo?
Yeah,
like playing gigs?
Yeah, no, not playing gigs, just writing stuff and getting ready to record. But that's it, man. Just living life.
Nice.
Keeping fit. Yeah,
Nice.
Loving life.
Yeah, do you feel like you've just, and that's how I'm feeling, I've just found the things that work for me, and that's what I'm sticking to. Yeah, I don't want to sound too, I'm still open to learning, but like, I know this works, I know that works.
Yep.
It's good.
Do you think is the acoustic thing an adaptation of age, like getting softer
Probably,
and stuff?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's just easy. I'm not plugging in; they're just there, and I just grab them and I can just grab them and noodle off and play stuff, and I'm not having to plug in and do all that. But yeah, I think as you get older, yeah, definitely.
Well, considering punk, hardcore kind of side of things, that's a change.
Even a lot of punk hardcore stuff I would write on the acoustic as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, Ty's got a demo. We might go to a demo and watch Tony Hawk skate.
Yeah.
Might be the last time we'll ever get to see that guy skate live, really.
That's
55.
kind of possible. I mean, he still loves getting around, obviously.
He likes doing spoken word events at theatres in front of people, doesn't he?
Apparently he does now.
How was it? Good.
We were talking about, do you want me to take this question?
Sure.
I was very curious to see, because I really think the concept of a spoken word's awesome. I think we need more people telling their stories. And I mean, Tony Hawk's history is so rich, not just in skateboarding, but business and everything. And I love Tony Hawk. I do.
Same.
I don't want to sound disrespectful, but I was underwhelmed by the event.
Why?
Yeah. Well, I feel like he was, I think he misjudged the crowd that was going to turn up. I think he was catering for more of a mainstream crowd and maybe a crowd that liked Tony Hawk because of his video game. So I don't think he maybe expected as many core skaters to be there. And I just feel like I knew a lot of what he was already talking about. And
you said that.
For me personally, and I can't speak for everyone obviously, but me personally, like, you know, I want to hear him get into the down and dirty of what's kept him going and some of the anguish that he's experienced, that we all experience as humans. I want to hear that shit. But he didn't go there. I think he kept it quite vanilla.
Cookie cutter, as I said. And it was story to story as opposed to getting into the depths,
Did
as
he
you
talk,
say,
did
of
he
the
talk
story.
about the early days of when he was hustled and, you know, spat on by Dwayne Peters
No,
and stuff like that?
no, none of that.
Okay.
No. He
That's
talked
what-
about
it was just
learning-
times, moments in time, and it just went from moment in time to moment in time, basically.
I was kind of surprised at what he considered to be pivotal moments for him. You know, like, I mean, he played that clip of him being on Captain Kangaroo, which would have been in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then he played that clip of the Levi's commercial, which I thought was funny and interesting. But I didn't think it'd be so pivotal for him. And then, like, the Doritos ad, like, he said that was quite a pivotal step in terms of his mainstream notoriety.
Yeah. But the Levi's thing, I guess that if you break that down, that would be a pivotal moment between going, right, no, we need to put across the real angle of skating because this is just so abstract, it's ridiculous, you know, and then really having that as a moment. I get that. That's understandable.
Well, I think that's what he said. That's when he felt this sense of responsibility to present the culture to the mainstream correctly.
For sure.
And that was the big wake-up call. It's like, oh, shit, like if I take these gigs and I don't do something about it and speak up, they're going to just ruin skateboarding.
Because that was pretty wacky. That ad was pretty wacky.
But the conundrum of, like, he had no other profession. It was like there was no money in skating at the time. He's desperate. He's trying to pay his mortgage and whatever. And it's like, how do you turn down, like, Levi's commercial money, you know?
Yeah.
But he learned from that and he went on to adapt it out there and then lead the charge and put it to the directors and stuff and be like, no, we got to do this properly.
And he was there when the vert died. He had to adapt to street.
Yeah.
Which many couldn't.
Street Hawk. And he ripped too on street.
He had that really shit style, but he did some good stuff.
He
man.
did some amazing stuff in those early Birdhouse videos. It was like, wow, for sure.
I agree.
And just his ability to identify talent when he built the Birdhouse team. I mean, and even the modern day team is insane.
And the end video as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was
landmark for
very
sure.
Yeah, like production.
Yeah.
Put time,
just
and
different
money into production.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he picked up Andrew Reynolds and Heath Kirchart. I mean,
Yeah.
game-changing skateboarders, and even though they both deny it because they're so humble. But, yeah, but they're doing a demo in Sydney Park today, and with all their new team riders, and should be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Ty's going to pad up.
No,
Skating time.
no, it would be good
Probably
to see.
could.
I could probably skate, sure, but that ain't happening. I don't want to be there. I mean,
will
it's
if
going to
you
be
do.
Tom Shah, Tate Carew.
Oh my god!
That'll be amazing to see. Elliot Sloan, all those guys smashing the bowl will be epic. I think Ash Wilkins, Australian kid, will be there skating too.
And some of those street guys like Clint Walker. I mean,
Yeah, Jaws.
Is this
Sure.
a well-known event? Is there going to be a lot of people, you reckon? Or?
well, I don't think they've promoted it that much. He like last night he said,
he
"Oh, this is the
mention it?
first time we've announced it."
Okay.
And I only heard about it because Ty had some inside knowledge yesterday. Because you told me about it before he mentioned it, and he says, "Yeah,
About what?
the demo."
When did I tell you about it?
You texted me and said he's doing a demo. Was that someone else?
That was someone else. I didn't know. I only found out last night when you said it.
I think it
as
was ChatGPT told me because I don't know. Anyway, but still, yeah, it'll be big. The Birdman seems to bring out the crowds, right?
For sure. And I like that he, it was like along the lines of the Secret Skate Park tour that he keeps it low key, but then tells it, and it's like people who can make it, it's just sort of a bit more organic like that.
He's got such a star quality though, and he's such a nice guy. Damn it, so talented. I hate those dudes. And then at the end, how's this, Darren? The band, there was a band like a Tony Hawk tribute band called Birdman,
right. Yeah, okay.
and like they played all covers from like the Tony Hawk PlayStation game.
Okay.
But, so a lot of it's like there was the Ramones, there was Rage Against the Machine, there was who else? Like Primus, like they did all those. And then at the end, they asked Tony to sing a couple of songs, and then like Tony's like, okay, and just like songs from the game, like which ones were they? Anima? No.
I can't remember.
But anyway, and then he sung them, and it was like he was good, and he was in time. Like he didn't miss. Like he was
I've seen
in
him
time.
sing some songs before.
Just like fuck, is there anything you can't do? God damn it. Anyway, I'm not bitter, but I am. All right.
Let him know today when you see him.
All right. Well, that's been absolute pleasure. Thank you, Ty Colling.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Flow Skate, and Mr. Darren Stapleton, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Rudolph.
Appreciate it.